Well, obviously today I've been asked to touch a bit on explaining your story. Um, Again, looking at obviously it's pretty simple. I mean, it's pretty much what it says in the tin, isn't it? So I'd like to just dive straight in it, and you know me, I always like to talk about like why it's important first. So I'd just like to give you a couple of reasons as to why I think selling your story to people and being able to motivate people with your story is massively important. I think obviously the first one is motivation. I mean, I remember when I was really new in the company, something that motivated me and something that got me sort of rocking and rolling was other people's stories. You know, like when Callum and Ursula told me their story, and something that really caught my eye is the fact that they started off where I was starting. Another one there, inspiring other people as well. I mean, that's effectively what our job is to not just sell to customers, but to actually sell to people that we're trying to recruit into our business as well. I think obviously another one, guys, if you're selling your story to people, it can build people's confidence, can it? I mean, why is that? Because, well, I think being told a story and if they're covering things that perhaps challenges you deal with, things that you're currently going through, it can build your confidence in your situation, you know, because you know you're not the first one to do it. You know other people have been there, done it, got the t-shirt before you, sort of thing. And I think the last one, guys, just knowledge. You know, if somebody's telling you their story and how they got started in the company, you know, everything that's happened all the way throughout that process, you're gonna have a good understanding of how the business works as well. So I think these are like four reasons for me. I think why explaining your story is absolutely huge, and why being able to explain your story well is so important, especially when you're trying to effectively maybe run a team or even run a business. Sales is, I believe, always have believed that sales is 50% you. So it's like we learn a lot of our skills for the field. So I like to relate a lot of topics and everything back to the field. So when you're speaking to a customer, it's effectively 50% you and 50% the client. So I think it's really important to understand that you're not just making sales in the field, but you're actually making sales right throughout everything you do on a day-to-day basis. But when you're trying to motivate a team, when you're running an impact, it's effectively you're selling them on why that system works. You know what I mean? So I think obviously the business itself plays a massive part in retaining people, but it's also 50% you. So how can you, as a person, sell yourself? So how to explain your story? Well, first things first, a bit of background about myself. I mean, it's all fair and well jumping in and talking about sort of you're starting in the business and all the rest of it. But I think it's really important just to go back a bit and actually explain where I grew up. So, I mean, I just give you some examples. So, I mean, obviously myself, I grew up in Leith. Here I am. Sunny Leith. Here we are. Again, school studies, Trinity Academy, and all the rest of it. And when you're talking to people, I'm not saying you have to go through this sort of systematically, but it's really important that throughout the time you're spending with people, that you are highlighting your sort of what's happened to you in your past. And I think a big one as well is just what you get up to in your spare time, because your goal when you're explaining your story to people, well, one of the goals I think is to try and relate to people as well. You know what I mean? Like just like you try and relate to a customer on a day-to-day basis. So where you can get a lot of sort of traction on that is explaining your background. And what people are going to do if you're explaining that to them, they'll tend to tell you a bit about them as well, and that's helped me get to know people on a more personal basis. So previous employment, I think this is massively important because I'm not saying we're going to talk down on what we've done previously, but we kind of want to make it look, put this way, there needs to be more cons than pros, otherwise you would never have left the job. So I think obviously just explaining what you've done previously. So for me, I was a student studying architecture, and at the same time I've done sort of labouring jobs and stuff as well. Pros of that, I was outside working away. It's good banter. Cons, not much money, not much opportunity. And why did I decide to quit? Well, I knew there was more exciting things out there. You know what I mean? I didn't fancy doing this for the rest of my life. For me though, I sort of fall more into the category of previous studies, but I know most people, well, 50% of people, let's say, have worked somewhere previously. So it's really important that you get good at explaining why you left that company, and what did you do next? What kind of thing did you start to look for as well? I think that's huge. You don't want to slag any companies off or anything, but you really just want to highlight what you didn't enjoy about it, as opposed to what you did. Because if you make it sound really good, people will ask why you're here. You know what I mean? So it's really important that you get familiar with just explaining that story to people and how you decided to start looking for something else. I know a lot of people studied before this as well. So just like myself, obviously, previously to this, I said I'd done labouring, but I was more so a student. And where did I study? I studied at Edinburgh College. What did I study? Like I said before, sort of architecture and interior design. Why did I choose to study? I've always been quite interested in buildings and how they work and how to put them together. And again, this is a massively obvious one, guys. I mean, if you were a student before this, what are the pros of being a student? Well, you're more a long-term thinker, aren't you? You know, you're more of a long-term thinker. You're more looking into the future as opposed to your current situation, because your current situation involves a lot of cons. I mean, you're racking up a lot of debt. Two, I mean, it can take 4 to 8 years to actually become qualified in your studies. And I think, for me, I think that was just a bit too long to wait. I didn't want to wait 4 to 8 years to, well, 7 years in my sort of industry, to become a sort of graduate and then effectively just a beginner. You know what I mean? The way I looked at it, if I was perhaps to pursue something else, I'd maybe reach my goals quicker. You know what I mean? And for me, I think obviously one of the most important things we've got in terms of what we do is time. You know what I mean? Like, I think time means everything. So if you're willing to spend 7 years, if you like, doing something that's effectively not even going to get you the job and what you were planning on doing, I think that's a massive con. So that's something that sort of drew me away from the idea of continuing studying and perhaps trying to find something else. So I think obviously there's another one I just want to touch on as well. I mean, I think it's massively important as well, guys. If you have been working somewhere and you came for an interview with this and you really enjoyed it, I'd talk about why you left your current job to come and do this. What was so much better about this? So the next slide I've got, Cal, if you're able to jump on that, is actually why did you choose sales? So, well, why did I choose sales? Well, for me, I think obviously it all just relates back to opportunity, money and fun, doesn't it? I mean, the only reason you're going to leave something is because one of these things just aren't there. With me, well, as a student, obviously, the money and opportunity wasn't really there. Well, the money really wasn't there, and the fun aspect of things. All that was really there was an opportunity to keep learning. But for me, I think it just wasn't enough. You know, I needed more than just a quite a vague opportunity. I needed a definite opportunity where I could earn money and have a lot of fun in the process as well. You know what I mean? And obviously, why I decided to choose sales. Well, I mean, a lot of you probably heard this, but I was only looking for a good working environment where I could earn great money while doing my studies, and my plan was to continue my studies. But what I then realised is the fact that this is a funner place to be. This is a place where I've actually got a massive opportunity in front of me. So let's run with this. You know what I mean? I mean, this environment provides all three. It's something I'm really proud of, and something that I'm not shy away from, is the fact that it is commission based and it's uncapped earnings. If you don't like the idea of that, you're mental. You know what I mean? And that's something that pricked my ears up when I got told, cool, it's uncapped earnings, you can make as much as you want in a week. I was like, brilliant, perfect, that sounds just like me. You know what I mean? And on top of that, the atmosphere in the office was just absolutely banging. You know what I mean? You came in the morning, people were giving you all this and high five, and it was a good place to be. You know what I mean? And on top of that, an opportunity to go and run your own company. I mean, for me, that's a total no-brainer. Like, if you don't want to do this, something's not right. You know what I mean? Like your uncapped earnings, it's a good laugh, and there's an opportunity to actually go and run your own sales and marketing company. Do it as quick as you want. To me, that sounded pretty exciting. So that's why I chose to come and do this. I mean, it was just totally different from what I'd done before. And just a complete change in the environment, and I could sense it'd be a bit of a challenge as well. You know what I mean? It's something I love as a challenge, absolutely. I mean, look at us all now. We all clearly love a challenge. You know what I mean? So yeah. I mean, that's sort of for me, why I got started. It's just ticking the 3 boxes. Cool. So what skills have I learned? Well, a lot. I mean, personally, when I joined the company, didn't really have many skills. Well, nah. In fact, I lie. I had no skills in what we done whatsoever. Couldn't even hold a conversation with somebody. I couldn't even. I just wasn't very confident to say the least. You know. So I think obviously with doing this for about 18 months now, I mean, the skills I've learned, it's just absolutely huge. And when I'm explaining my story to people, guys, I mean, people like to hear this. Like, people like to hear the fact that you've only been here. Say, for example, I don't know, Michael, been here 6 months. I don't know how long you've been here, Michael, but and you could list off all these skills you've learned to people that are effectively going to join your team in your business. People are going to be impressed. You know what I mean? Like, it's something I like to say is like, well, I had no sales experience. Now I like to think that I'm good at sales. You know, now I know my products like the back of my hand. I've got great customer service when dealing with customers. I'm able to lead for the front. I'm organised. You know, I understand the financials. I understand the recruitment process. I'm able to manage a team. I can set goals. Love setting goals. I love planning, coaching, developing my business, and I think I've adopted behaviours and discipline as well over the time being here. And administration is something that I'm recently getting to terms with as well. You know what I mean? So I think being able to list off all the things that you've learned and things that have skills that you've sort of developed, I think it's massively important because it gives people a bit of motivation and a bit of almost inspiration in terms of what they can learn, like what's available for them. Because effectively that's what you're trying to do when you're trying to explain your story. You're really just trying to get across the point, like this is here for you. I mean, it's all, I mean, I don't think anyone was starting the company, oh, look at all this amazing stuff I've done and what I've learned, but it's not for you, mate. It's only for me. You know what I mean? Your goal is to inspire people and motivate people to want to go through this process as well and learn the skills that you have. Cool. Next one, obviously experiences. I think experiences is a massive one. Well, where do I start? You know what I mean? I've had a cracking 18 months in the company. You know what I mean? Trips, too many of them, to be honest with you. Absolutely fantastic. And I think when I was doing the business as well, I mean, I got taken a trip pretty early on. It was to Ibiza, and what an eye opener. You know what I mean? Just seeing lots of different people for lots of different offices all around the UK. I was like, that is absolutely fantastic. You know what I mean? Like getting to meet all these people, learning all these different things, and just really seeing the bigger picture as well. So when I'm trying to sell that to people, I offer them, well, don't offer them, but I explain that the opportunity is there for them to do the same thing as me. They've got the travel opportunities. They've got the opportunity to meet people all around the UK and effectively all around the world as well. I mean, in 18 months, I've been to Ibiza twice. It's a cool place, bit of a riot. Malaysia, Singapore. Best one yet was definitely Miami. That was absolutely brilliant. You know, and being able to have these stories just to tell people, well, it motivates me thinking back about it. It gives me a wee kick, and definitely I think the person I'm talking to is going to be like, Jesus Christ, this guy's done a lot. You know, in 18 months, he's been on 4 international trips and seen a bit of the world. And obviously when I'm explaining that, I've just explained the fact that I'd never even been on a plane before I joined the company. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it sounds a bit mental, doesn't it? You know what I mean? When you're explaining it like that. Next one, conferences again. Well, what kind of conferences do we do? I mean, I've been to new leaders meetings, business advancement meetings, next generation meetings, sales masterclasses, and again, when you're trying to explain the fact, you're trying to sell the fact that this is a industry where we're constantly focused on developing people. It's massively important that you explain how we develop people. So a big thing for me and a big thing that really built my confidence and knowledge was the conferences, the things that I was personally invited to be to. One, it makes you feel that wee bit special, you know what I mean, and then two, actually, because you're feeling special, you're really engaged in what the people are teaching you as well. Next thing, team nights. Well, again, definitely 100% mention the fact that we do sort of team nights twice a week and really get to know each other as a team. Like, I always relate back to the core values as well. You know, like the 6 core values: fun, it's important to enjoy what you're doing, who you work with, isn't it? So, I mean, a great way to capture that is team nights. So we do these twice a week, you know, and it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, my time through the business, I've really learned a lot for actually spending time with people outside from different offices. You know, it's been absolutely brilliant. And I think building relationships is key because it's gonna effectively benefit you in terms of your networking abilities later on down the line. So that's how I'd sort of say that to somebody. Monthly team building activities as well. Again, for a few good laughs, limos and all that. That was a good banter. Absolutely. Again, these things are absolutely brilliant. I mean, again, when I'm explaining these things like team nights and monthly team building activities, I think it's really, really important that I talk about my old position in work. So when I used to do labouring, I mean, these guys have never heard of a team night. these guys have never done a monthly team building activity. You know what I mean? So achievements as well. I think this is a really big one. When you're explaining your story, I mean, you need to have some achievements in there, don't you? I think that makes sense, because if you don't, people are going to think, well, what have you actually done? I mean, you've explained that it's a fun place where you can do stuff, but what have you actually done? So I think it's important to throw in a few things that of things that you've done well. So for me, like when I'm explaining my story to people, I mean, I'll obviously talk about the promotions, the time period, and how I managed to hit the promotions, and achievements like awards and stuff as well. I mean, all of my Instagram page, it's got sort of stuff where I really look at and see all the cool places we've been, whether it be War Museum or, I don't know, fancy places that we've been to, you know, and it's places you wouldn't necessarily get to go without this industry, this company, you know what I mean? And I think it's really important that you're explaining all the small achievements, and not just achievements from yourself, but achievements of others as well. I think that's huge, you know what I mean? Like, for example, myself, if I'm explaining my story, a lot of the achievements that I'm going to be telling this person, it's not going to be about me, it's going to be about people that are in my team. Because what am I trying to do? I'm trying to motivate somebody to be part of what I'm offering. And people don't like people that constantly talk about themselves. It needs to be people who talk about the success of others, because then if I'm a new guy looking at that, I'm like, cool, well, if he can help them succeed, maybe he can help me succeed. And that's what's going to get me interested. Cool. The next one's just obviously, again, guys, some challenges that you may have faced as well. I put this here just because I do like to talk through some challenges and slightly more, I don't want to say negative experiences, but slightly more, let's just say, challenging experiences that I've came across throughout my time in the business. And I think it just makes it seem a bit more real, doesn't it? You know what I mean? If you're constantly banging on about all the success and how you've never came across any obstacles, the person's going to be thinking, this guy's full of rubbish. You know what I mean? And so I think it's really important just to give them some real life challenges that you've came across, things that perhaps you've struggled with a bit, and things that you've overcome as well. And I think it's important to explain why you've overcome it. So why did I overcome the challenge of I don't know, what challenges did I face? Well, I think a big one was keeping calm. Definitely. Used to lose my head a bit when I was new. 100%. Put my hands up. So I think obviously learning to deal with that and learning to manage my attitude was huge. You know what I mean? That's what's helped me take it a long way. And how have I done that? Spending time with people in this business that have got a great attitude, people who know how to deal with challenges. That's how I'd explain that one. Cool. Yeah, so that's slides. You want to just jump on it? Cool. And so this is I think this is actually the last slide, guys. So what's your plans? I think it's massively important that you're not just explaining what you've done previously, but you're actually talking about what you want to do, where you want to be. But before you do that, something I've circled just there on the right is your current situation. I think it's huge that you talk about your current situation, like where you are. So for example, Tim, I mean, obviously, if I'm offering him the role, or if I'm training him in his first week, I'm really selling the fact that this is the situation we're in and this is where we want to be. So always talk to people about goals. I mean, one thing I do every day is, I mean, even though we're on lockdown, I still look over my goals, where I want to be, and what kind of things I want to have, what kind of lifestyle I want to have, you know what I mean? And it's good to write this stuff down and have an image yourself, but what's even better is if you're talking to people about this all the time. You know what I mean? That at the end of the day, explaining your story, all you're trying to do is motivate, inspire and entice people to want to work with you. You know what I mean? So you need to be goal oriented. That's the point I'm trying to get across. Talk about your goals, vision your goals, and allow others to vision your goals as well. And you also need to incorporate how they fit into your goals as well. Cool. Where you want to be. So again, I wouldn't do this like Nicky was saying yesterday. I wouldn't do this over 5 years. Definitely not, because I think it's just a bit far-fetched, isn't it? I think keeping it shorter, keeping it sweeter is definitely going to work better for you. So talking maybe over the next 3 months. So where I want to be in the next 3 months, cool. I want to hit my 12-week goal, and I want to be running my own marketing company. You know what I mean? And the benefits of that, let me explain to you. And let me explain how you can actually fit into that as well. You know what I mean? So where you could be a team builder. You know what I mean? I'm going to effectively spend my time teaching you the skills that I have. I'm going to replace myself with you. I'm incentivized to help you achieve your goals because it helps me achieve my goals. You know what I mean? And what are your goals? So that's a different topic. So cool. So how are you going to do it? So obviously the plan of attack. Show people your plan, visualize your plan, talk about your plan. And I think obviously explain as well, guys, how the businesses gave you the opportunity that most don't. You know what I mean? Like always at the end of sort of when I'm explaining my stories, talk about where I think I would have been if I never came across the business. And in all honesty, probably in about 15-20 grand debt in for the fourth year of uni. You know what I mean? It's doesn't sound too good. I mean, when I look at it now, I'm like 21 and I'm running a more marketing company. Well, that's a big change. You know what I mean? Like, could be making 3-4 grand a week. Never mind losing 3-4 grand well, maybe not a week, but you get my drift. You know, so I think it's important, guys, when you're explaining your story, you're just trying to build somebody's confidence in what we do, aren't you? So it's really effective when you're able to explain a story that they can also resonate with and really sort of almost and feel like what's the word I'm looking for? Feel like they could achieve that as well. So for example, you're trying to influence them to copy what you've done. You know what I mean? And again, what excites you about your future in the industry? So this is maybe where I talk about something a bit more long term, where I see myself in the next couple of years. You know what I mean? And how I see my situation growing, and how I see maybe incorporating you as an individual into that situation as well. Cool. So that is everything, guys. We do have one last thing I'd just like to quickly show you if Callum could share that. And it's just a sort of little timetable template thing that you can sort of fill out if you like. Cool. So this just gives you, obviously it's just all the things I've sort of touched on there. Luckily, and again, you can just sort of run through this, fill it out, guys, and again, it just gives you a sort of starting point as to where to go and to explain your story. You know what I mean? It's all just past, present, future, isn't it? And obviously when you're explaining your story, most of it's going to be past events and what's happened to you previously. So, cool. That's everything for myself. I hope that's all made sense. Is there any sort of questions at all?
Kyle, how often do you tell your story to your guys? And what level would you, is it just new people or just?
Oh, mate, at the end of the day, I'd do it anytime. I mean, I think an important time to do it and a great time to do it would be when sales are low, averages are low, and people are looking a bit flat, because your story can really inspire people and give people that kick again to put extra effort in. You know what I mean? And if you're explaining the challenges that you dealt with back then, and what's even better is if that's the challenges they're facing now, it really helps them get past the situation. But again, mate, with new guys, definitely, pardon me, I definitely get explaining it to them. You know what I mean? I think new guys need to hear that in the first week. I mean, even in the first day, I'm explaining my story with a new guy. You know what I mean? And a great time to do it. I mean, you're not going to have time to sit and run an impact on your story, but do it when you're on the field. You know what I mean? Like explain to them why you do this. Because for a lot of people coming into the company, it's a bit like, well, I can see what you do, but I'm not 100% sure why you do it. So I mean, I think it's really important that you explain the story and why you got started, why you actually do this, and where you see yourself going with it as well, to new guys and people perhaps needing a bit of a retraining, or people who just need to hear it. I think explaining your story, it's all about you, really, isn't it? I mean,
Right.
so Jordan, even though you've not been in the company long, there's still a story, isn't there?
Yeah.
What you've done previously and why you got started, and your biggest part of your story is going to be where you see this going. Does that make sense?
Right.
Because you've not got much past yet. You've got a lot of
Yes.
explain, if you like. No,
I
obviously,
that
I
makes sense.
think a big one. The most important part for me is why you start.
When you look at Kyle's results, okay, he is without a doubt one of the, if not the best recruiter that we've ever even had in the team and in the organisation. Like, genuinely, 9 times out of 10, if Kyle takes out an observation that he hires, well, not only does he hire them, but they actually start. And one of the reasons for that, as you guys will probably be able to pick up, is because how good he is at explaining his story. Like, it was actually quite funny because 10 minutes before the call started, I said, "Kyle, are you ready? Do you need me to share the sheet?" And he's like, "What sheet?" And I was like, "Oh." I was like, the template for being able to tell your story. And he's like, "Oh,
Never
yeah,
seen it before.
I can use that." But actually, that whole presentation Kel's put together was just done off his memory, if you like, off his knowledge. And funnily enough, when we got to the end of the presentation, when we brought the sheet up, Kel's whole presentation took people through that journey. What does that tell you? That just tells you that Kyle really, really, really knows how to explain his story. So when he's taken out an observation, or for you guys in events, like on the first day, so I think one of the questions was, when do you run this? Well, 1,000,000% you run this topic when you're taking out the observation. You take that, you run through this stuff if you're in events on the person's very, very first day, because they need to understand you. Because as Kyle said there, a massive reason why the person's going to choose to start in a business is going to come down to the leader. You know what I mean? Going through the past, the present, and the future, and how do they see themselves? Can they relate to your story in any shape or form? And do they get motivated by what you've achieved in the business, so that they're like, "Oh, I want that stuff." And then are they excited about the future that you've got sort of planned, and can they see themselves fitting into that plan, to that goal? So absolutely wicked. And I suppose maybe the best to ask this as a question to Kyle, but do you go through that in a winner, Kyle, or do you just kind of drop the story in over the course of a whole day?
What was that? Sorry, mate. You actually paused there while you were talking.
Sorry. So when you're going explaining your story, I take it you don't do it as like, let me like sit down with the popcorn and explain it from. Do you know what I mean? I take
No,
you do it throughout the day.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you mean, mate. That's something I probably should have included in the presentation. I mean, you can do it all in a sort of one sitting, but I think what I prefer to do is spread out throughout the course of a day.
Yeah.
You know, and while I'm doing it, I'm interacting with them and getting a bit of feedback from. You know what I mean?
So it doesn't sound
that
like
makes sense.
So it's not like a pitch then.
No, it's not a pitch. It needs to actually come from like you.
Yeah.
Write down script to somebody. It needs to, because then it's going to seem too pushy, and almost like you're desperate for them to start in the company. Yeah. So I think it's more so about just going through it as the day goes on.
Yeah.
Maybe after you do a sale, I don't know, your achievements or something, because you've just achieved that small thing in front of them. I don't know. You just have to be smart with it. You know what I mean? Just don't throw it all at somebody. Just sort of do it as the day goes on. You know what I mean? Explain a bit at a time.
Perfect. So no, thanks very much for that, Kyle. That was absolutely wicked. And
no bother, mate.
Cheers, Kyle.
Kyle explaining his story. As you guys were listening to Kyle explaining that story, I don't know about you, but I was motivated. I wanted to start in his team.